How's everyone doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome folks at home. Glad you are joining on our LGBTQ community talk show, where we shine the spotlight on creative people who are doing great work, those who are working hard to entertain us, make us think, make us laugh, and brightening up our lives with creativity and contributions. We've got reporter Kat Grant is on the road with her guest Marni Grossman. Regretfully, our reporter Boyd Kodak is recovering from the flu, so Ade Johnson is going to take over from him and interview his guest Leon Tsai. And Ade is also going to be doing his own Youth Corner with Sebastian Commock. Before we get into the show, I want to take just a few moments or a few seconds just to speak to someone who might be at home, who might not be from the LGBT community, but might be cruising the channels and happens to land on our show. The LGBT community is a really wonderful community. If you don't know someone from the community, go out and meet someone. So many friendly people, but also so many very inspiring people. People who care for their cities and towns and for our world. People who work hard. People who volunteer and champion causes to help others. There are artists and performers and poets and composers and dancers and athletes and lawyers and doctors. You get the point. We are part of the world, part of your world, our world that we share together. We hope that our show can help show you the amount of talent in the community and that we are no different than you. What we do in life is what you do. We live and we work and we love. So sit back, enjoy, and have a chance to get to know us, I hope. Now, I don't want to even do an introduction for my special guest today. She's an icon in the lesbian community and in the LGBT community in general. She is well respected, well loved, and has made so many contributions over the year. Everyone, it's Deb Parent.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. So, hey, Deb.
Hey.
Hey. One of the things you do in the community is you play great music.
Thank you.
I've been to a party of yours last year, and I don't think I stopped dancing for 3 hours. You're a DJ.
I am.
You are a DJ. So what got you into that? When, why DJing?
I grew up in Ottawa, and in 1976, we formed an organization called Loon, Lesbians of Ottawa Now. It was the 70s. Okay. And we were looking to do some fundraising. Okay. So we thought, let's put on a dance. Nobody had ever DJ'd or done anything like that, but we thought, how hard can it be?
They made you?
You just put a record on and put the needle down, and that's what got me started. So 1977, it's 40,
and you fell in love?
40 years, and I fell in love because I love music, and I loved how music brought us together as a community.
So beautiful. What's your style? What's your vibe? What do you play?
Everything. I like.
I remember you played everything.
Everything. So right now I'm playing a span of 50 years of music, from retro, very disco, right up to top 40.
Nice. And you have a regular party these days?
I do.
Where is that?
I partner with Mary Lou Borg from
Mary Lou Borg.
From the Palais Royale, which is an incredible venue.
Yes.
And we're putting on tea dances.
Which is an old form that I like that is being brought back.
Yeah, and for folks who may not know,
what is the tea dance?
Tea dance is an afternoon dance, and so it appeals to all ages of people. So you come out in the afternoon and spend some time dancing, and you can either go home if you're an older person and have dinner, or you can continue the party elsewhere.
I actually like tea dances because you get home early and you get the chance on Sunday to relax and just be ready for your work next day.
Still party and have some energy and have a sense of community.
Got it. So time to take a break. I'm gonna kick it off to Kat Grant with Marni Grossman, and we will be back after that.
Hi everyone, Kat Grant here. I'm here today with the amazing photographer, Marni Grossman. Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
I'm curious whether you grew up within a creative family.
That I did. My mother was an interior decorator and designer, and my father was kind of a creative genius sculptor and photographer. and my inspiration, I'd have to say.
That's a great personal inspiration. And how did you get into photography yourself? And why?
I always wanted to find something that if I spent my life doing it, I would never know everything about it. And photography fascinated me. I couldn't even fathom how you could put a camera up to your face and push a button and capture a feeling in a moment. It was, yeah.
You do a lot of architectural work currently.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I have a commercial photography business. I photograph architecture for high-end commercial real estate companies and decorators, designers, and architects. I do interiors and exterior photographs of large buildings.
You also have traveled the world. Where is your favorite place to shoot?
Well, I'd say the world is my favorite place to shoot. I think the place that inspired me the most was West Africa. The smells and the people, the landscape, it really changed my life photographing there.
Wow, beautiful. And I know currently you also love bears, and you're doing some work in the future. This is what's coming up for you with the Conservation Authority?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've just been hired on to do a contract for the TRCA, which is Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. They have a project called the Trails Strategy Program. They want to try to connect the trails in Ontario to each other, so you could essentially cross-country ski from Uxbridge to Toronto. And I've been hired to photograph the trails for them all over.
And what about your love for bears?
I spent a few days in the Great Bear Rainforest photographing the white spirit bear and her two little baby black cubs, and it changed my life. And I'm now all about protecting the Great Bear Rainforest wildlife and the ecosystem from pipelines being put in, and just protecting the beautiful landscape. And that's where my heart is.
That's a beautiful thing. Okay, so now you're going to tell everyone where they can get a hold of you.
Okay, I have a website, marnigrossman.com, an Instagram page, it's Marni Grossman Photography, and a Facebook page. I look forward to hearing from you all.
Yes, get some work. She's amazing. So thank you so much, Marni, for coming in today. You're a personal hero. And so for everyone else, make sure you go and buy some work from Marni. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Deb, let's talk about the old days for a bit.
Oh, we love that.
Yes, they were good,
Yeah.
weren't they? Let's start with the clubs.
Okay.
What was your hangout? What clubs did you go to?
Oh, I started at the Cameo. This was
Yes.
back in the 80s.
80s.
And then late 80s, early 90s, the Rose.
Rose was a big one.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I hang out with a lot of
Yeah,
my friends
and
there.
I always loved tangos.
Tangos,
Yeah.
nice. Any fond memories of the clubs of the day?
Yes, but none that I think
many.
we should talk about on TV.
Some secrets, shouldn't be shared.
Yeah.
Were the clubs mixed back then, do you think, or is the scene now more integrated in the community?
I used to love the dances, whether they were GCDC dances at the Masonic Temple or, always loved going into men's bars and dancing because...
See, I love mixed spaces.
I do too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, a lot of the bars that I've talked about, Cameo was women.
Women.
Rose was some men, but
I was
predominantly
there.
women.
I was the only one on
I
the
loved
corner.
it. Love it. So no, I don't find that the bars are as integrated, partly because we have fewer bars.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
With that kind of integration.
The community is changing. Maybe the integration is more into the whole society.
I agree.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Now let's switch the topic. You are a whole lot more than a DJ. Not that being a DJ is not enough, but you're an activist and a community leader. One of the most important work you have done is that you have fought violence against women. That's the big thing. I'll let you tell us how you did that.
I started with the Rape Crisis Center back in 1980 and was on staff for more than 20 years there. And throughout that time, since 1987, I've been working as an instructor, a Wendo instructor. It's a self-defense program for women that originated right here in Toronto. We just celebrated our 45th anniversary last night as an organization and 30 years of my being an instructor. So
Take Back the Night. Is that yours?
Yes.
Yes.
And with the Rape Crisis Center, we started a march in September, October, at night called Take Back the Night in response to the death of a woman, Barbara Schleifer, who was a lawyer, just been called to the bar and was murdered, found dead in the stairwell of her apartment building. A clinic was created and named after her by lawyer friends and family to commemorate her death. And that was the time that we decided, you know what? If the only time a woman is safe at night is with 1,000 other women on the street with her, then by God, let's make that happen. So that's been a yearly event ever since 1980.
Bless you. You innovatively use music as your organizing tool. What does that mean to you?
For
I
me,
saw that in your bio, I think.
For me, there's such power in music, and there's such power to move us physically, to bring us together as community. I also came to feminism in the late 1970s, early 1980s, when there was music that was political. The lyrics were political and uplifting, and after going to my first march, and it was actually the first year we did Take Back the Night, while I appreciate the necessity to commemorate and to allow room for our grief, that march was way too quiet for me. And so I decided the next year that I wanted to put a sound truck in the march, because we had songs from Luba, we had songs from Patti LaBelle, we had music that was incredibly powerful, and that I thought we should also celebrate our ability to survive, not just survive, but to find joy as women and as marginalized people. I believe that as queers, that's important for us, and I believe that's especially true for us as women. They may take many things away from us, but they're not taking that. Yeah.
Cool. You're an NDPer.
Yes.
And you helped grow NDP presence at Pride celebrations across the province. Why was that important to you?
Because the NDP is a political party that reflects my values. And I wanted the party I'm proud of both my queer community and I'm proud of my NDP community. Beautiful. And so I wanted to bring the two together, because as LGBTQ people, we are struggling with many things right now. We're struggling with the cost of hydro. We're struggling with putting food on our table. We're struggling with being in jobs that are part-time, not even minimum wage. We're struggling with the fact that our wages haven't really gone up in 30 years. And so all of those issues and many more affect me as a queer person. And I wanted my queer community to hopefully find some solutions in the NDP.
Beautiful. We have grown as a community over the last 5 or 6 decades. I'm going to ask you, what do you think we need to continue working on to make us even better?
I think we need to find ways to grow the community in its diverseness, to recognize that you and I are reflective of a certain part of the community, and that we need to make our spaces and our issues reflective of
how this society looks now.
Racialized dykes, gay men, I think, have shown a lot of leadership in the community, but we tend to see the community as still pretty white and pretty middle class.
And we need to change that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We are going to take a break, everyone, and we'll be back after this. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ade Johnson, and I'm here filling in for Boyd. So I'm sitting here with the beautiful Leon Tsai.
Thank
I
you
did
for
say
having
that
me.
right.
Yes, Leon
Awesome.
Tsai.
There we go. Leon is currently studying at the University of Toronto, Scarborough, where she majors in women and gender studies and minors in creative writing and poetry. She is a proud Asian immigrant, transgender woman, public speaker, youth activist, and also working as an external coordinator for the U of T Scarborough campus Women's and Trans Center. Welcome, Leon.
Thank you so much for having me.
What caused you to begin writing and poetry?
I started writing about 5 years ago after I moved to Canada and got settled in. It first became like a writing exercise for me to practice my English, as it is my second language. But then it became an outlet for me to express my thoughts, especially at the time I was questioning my sexuality. I came out as a gay boy, and then now I'm a trans woman. Still writing about my thoughts and my views and what I experience with the world.
Your favorite piece that you've written so far? Tell us about that.
I can't decide and I don't know how to choose, but I would say that a lot of my poetry have a motif and a theme of connecting women, especially trans women, to nature. Being in women's and gender studies, I read a lot of books by Virginia Woolf, and she does that a lot where she compares flowers to women and nature to women and I think it's a beautiful symbol that I keep using in my works.
Awesome. And where can we find your work? Are they published anywhere?
I have been published before with my poems. I usually do spoken word, and when I get invited as a speaker, I also do public speaking, and just 2 weeks ago I was one of the speakers for the Trans Day of Remembrance flag raising at the Toronto City Hall. I tend to include some poetry and some metaphors into my public speaking as well.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Tell us about your activism work, your role at the Trans Women's Center.
So the Women's and Trans Center is a safe space on the U of T campus to give resources to trans identified people, and I'm the first trans identified person working there, and I'm so happy to be offered this position, especially as a first-year student in university.
Well, thank you so much, Leon, for all the work that you're doing, and thanks for being here, and we hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you. And we will be right back. Hi, welcome to Youth Corner. I'm your host, Ade, and I'm here with Sebastian Commock. Sebastian is a passionate community organizer and a poet. So, Sebastian, tell us about what got you into writing poetry.
I was 17 when I started writing. I was at a point where I was questioning my sexuality and questioning love, and there wasn't anyone to express or relate to what I was feeling, so I decided to put my thoughts on paper. So that's how I got started.
And what's the favorite piece that you've written?
My favorite piece to date is my first piece, which is titled The Lying Mirror. It pretty much encapsulates what I was thinking, what the gossips and rumors that were going around about me and my sexuality, and the fact that I wasn't willing to admit to what they were saying, but I knew they were true. So the mirror wasn't really reflecting what was standing before it.
So you work with refugees and newcomers of the 519. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. What's that experience like?
The good thing is that I have lived experience as a newcomer, as an immigrant, and it gives me an understanding, because I have lived experience, it gives me an appreciation and an understanding of what challenges in multiple intersectionalities faced by immigrants and refugees, especially LGBTQ focused or LGBTQ identified immigrants. It's not something I thought I'd ever be doing, because I studied hospitality management. I've worked multiple years in hospitality management, so I didn't think that I'd be working with refugees. But I've come to realize that this is my passion, and now I'm willing to make a career of it.
And lastly, tell us, you started a program called the CLRAA, which is the Canadian Refugee Advocacy Alliance. Tell us about that and what do you do with that program?
Yes, CLRAA, Canadian Legacy Refugee Advocacy Alliance. This is a program that I started in March of this year, 2017. I decided to start a program because I moved to Canada as a refugee claimant, and it took 1 year for my claim to be processed. And this was the worst year of my life because I was in limbo. I didn't feel as though I belonged anywhere. So it was hard. And after getting my claim processed in December of 2016, I decided I wanted to focus on legacy claimants, seeing that they have been here for in excess of 5 years, waiting for their claims to be processed. So they have been here since December of 2012. They've made their claims since then, and they still hadn't been processed. So we decided that we wanted to start a group that would be able to focus on the challenges that they face, the multiple intersectionalities, possible policies or procedures that we can put forward, different proposals, and we've made great strides doing that.
That's great. That's amazing work, and thank you so much for being here with us at Youth Corner. We're going to head over to Antoine.
Thank you. We are back. Hey. Hey. All right. Growing up, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Where did you grow up? Where was it?
I grew up in Ottawa, and I went to Catholic school because I was a good Catholic girl, or a bad Catholic girl.
Coming out.
Yeah.
Are you out to the family?
Absolutely. I came out in 1969 when I was 12.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, because
that's courageous for that time.
Well, you know, all I remember was that there was a priest who had come in to talk to the class because, as I said, it was a Catholic school. And I'm sure he said something not positive about homosexuality. And I remember thinking, that's it. That's my people.
Wow.
So I ran to the guidance counselor and said, Mrs. Brown,
I'm gay.
I'm a homosexual. I didn't even know the word gay at that point, right? But I'm a homosexual. And then next thing you know, I was seeing a psychiatrist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they thought it was, I had a gender identity issue because I was a tomboy, so I was very stereotypical. Okay. And if I liked girls, then I must want to be a boy, right? Because that was the binary thinking that they had. So my family has been through almost 50 years of my process.
Beautiful. You are someone who cares a lot. Let's take a look at the world. How crazy are things? Is there hope, and how?
The world has always had crazy moments.
Okay, fair enough.
This is
very great. Yeah.
Right? I do believe that this is one of a long line
a lot of
of
people
crazy
think that
moments.
it's really, really crazy, but look at the history. It's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
been crazy.
And there's a quote attributed to Martin Luther King, which I adore, and he says, "The arc of history is long, but it always bends toward justice." And that's what I believe, that in the end, right, while there are steps forward and sometimes steps back, we incrementally keep advancing.
Moving forward
I look at me. I'm 60 years old. I have been out to my parents, my family for 50 years. I have a partner whom I live with. I'm out in my life. I am, happy, healthy. There was a time when I was first coming out in 1969 that wasn't happening and couldn't have happened. Yeah. So I do think the world is getting to be a better place, and I am energized when we have these crazy moments and crazy leaders that people step forward. I mean, I got to co-chair the Women's March here in Toronto in January. We had 60,000 people, 60,000. And that's incredibly energizing for me because that tells me men, women, children, straight, gay, black, it didn't matter. People came out because they said, we are not that. And he, and Trump in this case, and our own politicians here in Canada do not reflect my values. And so people put their bodies where their values were. And for me, that's an incredibly positive thing.
I really love this message. Remember, it might sometimes feel gloomy, but it's progress. The world is always progressing.
But it only progresses because we do something about it. Yes. So let's start with, before I start on the fast questions, how about you? What's the next chapter for Deb? Well, we're working on the anniversary event, the anniversary march. It'll be at City Hall.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to bringing people out there.
Awesome.
I am playing my drums, which I also really like. Yeah, so I get to do some fun things as well. And there's a provincial election here in Ontario next year, and I definitely plan to be working for the NDP on that.
You're going to continue with your tea dance as well.
And we're going to definitely continue that party. Yeah.
All right, let's do the fast questions.
Okay.
I heard you watch the show, so you know what I'm talking about. Your favorite time of day?
Dusk.
Favorite DJ other than yourself?
Oh, I really liked TK.
TK. Favorite food to cook?
Pasta.
You like pasta?
Yeah.
Good girl. And last words to the community and the viewers and everyone here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight. It's your participation and your energy that makes anything happen. So, yay to you.
Thank you.
And of course to you.
Yay, I got a hug and a kiss, yay.
And not many men.
Thank you, Deb. You have been a delightful guest. Keep being amazing. I love you. Thank you to all our reporters. I love you guys. Thanks to all our wonderful guests and you, the audience, for being here. We got one more episode to go for mid-season. Then we'll take a break in March and back to finish the season with 4 more episodes. So lots more awesome guests and more episodes to come. Keep watching. Love you guys. Take care.